Hey racers, and welcome back to another live stream. And the topic for today's live stream, much earlier in the morning than what I normally do, um, is will protein powder make you a bulky rider? Okay, so um, in riding and racing in general, okay, everyone has this mindset of keeping light, keeping muscle mass down to improve movement on the bike, improve power weight ratio on the bike. In theory, it makes sense. If you can keep your body a lot lighter on the bike, you're going to be able to ride harder for a longer period of time because you've got less load to be able to move. So what I'm going to tackle in today's live stream is, does protein powder have a place in riding and racing? And is that going to make you big and bulky? Okay. Obviously, that's the last thing you guys want, is to be massive out on the bike and look like a bodybuilder when your goal is just to be able to ride the bike harder for longer periods of time. So that's the problem I'm going to solve, hopefully in today's video. So I've got a few notes here. So first of all, you need to understand a little bit about how protein works and what its role is in your body. Okay, so protein is the building blocks for your body to grow and for it to repair itself. Okay, so anytime you have like a muscle soreness, you go and fatigue yourself, okay, and even just on a day-to-day basis, protein is what allows our body, our muscles to, and bones as well, to repair themselves, okay, and to be able to grow, or even just to maintain size, okay, just to keep us alive and functioning and doing the things that we need to do, keep our arms and legs moving, keep our muscle mass at the same levels that it was the day before, so that we don't disintegrate and disappear. That's protein, okay, and so your body goes through this thing called protein synthesis, where it takes in protein, okay, it is delivered to the muscles and helps the muscles to be able to repair and grow back. And if you're training, they might come back bigger or they might come back stronger than what they were previously. So that's the importance of protein, first of all. So protein specifically doesn't make you bigger, okay? Simply by just consuming more protein is not going to mean that your muscles double in size, okay? Protein is not a steroid. And I feel like a lot of riders and racers treat protein like it is a steroid. Like if they take protein, they're going to be massive. Protein doesn't do that, okay? Protein repairs muscles, okay? Now, that comes into the second point is, okay, well, why do bodybuilders, why do people that are gaining muscle take lots of protein? So whether you gain muscle or not, okay, or large amounts of muscle or small amounts of muscle, comes down to the type of training that you do. So there's two different types of training that you can do in weight, or main types of weight training, okay? There's one avenue we go down, which is hypertrophy, which is bodybuilding type training. Your goal is to, not necessarily focused on making the muscles stronger. Your whole goal is, how can I make these muscles bigger, okay? That's hypertrophy. And then the other side is strength training. So the goal of strength training is not so much, how can I make the muscles bigger? The goal is, how can I make these muscles stronger? Now, a lot of riders and racers seem to think that both of these come together, okay? If you're getting stronger means getting bigger, and getting bigger means getting stronger. Now, although there is a little bit, hey, Robbie, there is a little bit of each in both, okay? If you get stronger, there will be a little bit of muscle mass increase. If you increase muscle mass, there will be a bit of strength increase. But there's dominant focuses for each one, okay? Hey, Caden. So bodybuilding is primarily focused on getting the muscles bigger. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best training to get you stronger. And getting stronger doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best training to get you bigger, okay? They're different focuses, different styles of training. So to explain those a little bit more, the bodybuilding type training is isolation training. And so what that does is, like, for example, with a bicep curl. If I do bicep curls, which I don't have very big biceps, but if I do a whole heap of bicep curls, it isolates that one muscle group, my bicep, okay? And so the whole goal of that is, when we're doing, say, an isolation exercise, a bicep curl, is we want to break down muscle fibers. So all our muscles are made up of these muscle fibers. Now, to get the muscle to be bigger, what needs to happen is these muscle fibers need to be torn, okay? And they're micro tears. It's not like you've pulled a muscle off the bone. They're micro tears in these muscle fibers. And then what happens is, you really stress it, you do heaps of bicep curls, you break down all these muscle fibers, and then you let your body rest and recover, and then it uses protein to repair itself, and those muscle fibers come back a little bit bigger than what they did before. Okay, and that's hypertrophy training or bodybuilding training. When we're doing strength training, we're working in a different way. So instead of tearing those muscle fibers and then them being repaired and coming back bigger, what we want to do is we want to focus on making them stronger. So when we use movements like multi-joint movements, so like, say, back squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, bent over rows, these types of movements, which use multiple muscle groups in the body, We're not isolating and tearing muscle fibers in one specific area and putting all this pressure and stress on one muscle group. We're spreading it throughout the body. And so what starts to happen when we do that is the muscle fibers in your body, okay, become more efficient at their job. So what this means is instead of breaking down and just creating a lot of size, these muscle fibers become more efficient at contracting and relaxing, and their contractile capacity increases over time. So what that means is when you're tensing, okay, the amount of power that those muscles can produce increases without adding a whole heap of size. So a good example of this, like if you look at Olympic weightlifting, you'll see like 48 kilo girls lifting double their body weight, 90, 100 kilos over their head, okay? At such a light body weight. And you'll look at them and you'll go, they're tiny. And go, hey, Murray, you'll go, they're tiny. Like, how can they lift all that weight? And that's because of the way that they train. They don't train to put on size. They train to maximize strength because that's their sport. And that's what you guys need to work on as racers. We want the strength benefits of training, not the hypertrophy benefits. So that's what will decide if you put muscle mass on or not, is the type of training that you do. The other thing that will contribute to putting on like your body weight increasing or body weight decreasing, and I have this happen, I hear this from riders a lot, where they'll start doing weight training or start doing training and they're trying to lose weight, but they go the opposite way and start gaining weight. So the way the body works in terms of strictly body weight, okay, if we just take muscle mass and body fat percentage and that out of it for a minute, and we just focus on body weight. If you want to increase your body weight, you need to have more calories coming into your body through food than what you're burning off. And if you do that, your body weight will go up, okay? If you want to lose weight, we need to do the opposite, okay? We need to be able to, sorry, I think I got that mixed up. If you want to gain weight, okay, you need to have more, sorry, maybe I did get that right. I'm not sure if I said it the wrong way around. I'll say it again. If you want to gain weight, you need to have more calories coming in than what you're burning off. So you're burning off this many calories, but you've got this many calories coming in. And so that's called a calorie surplus, that little gap there. And that's what's there to allow your body to grow, and it will store weight either through muscle or through body fat, okay, to increase your weight. If we want to go the opposite way and we want to drop body weight, we need to put in less calories than what our body's burning. So that's called, that gap there is called a calorie deficit. And so I'm getting the words mixed up today. That's called a calorie deficit. And so what that means is your body is burning more energy and more calories than what's coming in. So it's forced to drop body weight. Okay, it has to get lighter. So it has to reduce body fat and perhaps reduce muscle mass as well, depending on how you're eating and how you're training. So one of the common mistakes that comes up, or the common thing that I hear, like I just said, is riders and racers will get into training or start strength training or start doing training again, and they're trying to lose weight, but they're putting on weight. And they'll go, oh, I gained muscle. I'm one of those people that gains muscle easily, and like a week later, they got a couple of kilos on. First of all, muscle, you're not going to put on muscle that quickly, okay? Muscle takes a while to develop and grow. If you look at bodybuilders, they train every day. Hey, Riley, train every day for years to get to the size that they are. So if you think you're going to put muscle mass on within a few days of weight training, you're kidding yourself. What happens, though, is I find riders will start, when you train and you do strength training, it speeds up your metabolism. Your body's burning more calories. So naturally, you become hungrier. And so what happens is a lot of people will go and train, get into weight training, get into conditioning training, okay, and do the stuff they know that they should be doing, and they don't change their diet. So what happens is their metabolism gets sped up, but they're not changing their food. So automatically, as they're starting to train more and their body's cranking up and their body's tearing muscle fibers or getting stronger, okay, or their cardio is improving and they're burning a shit ton of calories, they're also putting a shit ton more calories in. And so what starts to happen is because they're eating higher calorie foods and they haven't adjusted their diet, they're still in a calorie surplus. Okay, so they might have increased the amount of calories that they're burning on one side, but they've also increased the amount of calories that they put in on the other side because they're hungrier and their metabolism's cranked up. And so these are the people that find it hard to be able to lose weight, especially when they're training and say that they put on muscle mass easier, okay, or can't lose weight once they start to train. And that's because they're increasing the amount of calories going in as they're increasing the amount of calories they're burning at the same time. So instead of increasing the calories they're burning and going into a deficit and just eating the same amount of calories, what happens is they increase like this. And that's why they don't get the results that they're after. So the diet side is important. All things being equal, calorie surplus and calorie deficit is what's going to decide whether you gain weight or not. Okay, protein will decide whether you maintain muscle mass when you lose weight. So I guess that's maybe a bit outside the scope of this video, but if you're working on losing weight, you want to make sure that you're losing body fat, okay, not losing muscle, because then you're losing your fitness and losing your strength as well. And so the way that you maintain your strength and maintain your muscle is you make sure that you've got adequate protein going in, as well as being in a calorie deficit. Okay, both of those things need to be met. So that way, you can keep muscle mass or retain as much muscle mass as we can, and also lose body fat at the same time and be able to drop your body weight. You don't just want to starve yourself and restrict a whole heap of calories, because then you lose muscle mass, you lose strength, you lose fitness. So you might be lighter, but you feel like shit, you don't have any energy, your strength's gone, plummeted down, okay, your conditioning's gone to shit as well. So that's really the three areas. So to answer the question, will protein powder make you a bulky rider? No, it won't, okay? Protein powder will not make you a bulky rider. The type of training you do and how much food you eat, how many calories you consume, will determine whether you're a bulky rider. So doing a whole heap of, first of all, to recap for today, protein repairs the body, okay? That's the whole goal. Protein does not get you bigger. It's not a steroid, okay? It repairs the body from the damage that's been done to it. Training will decide whether you put on mass or you get stronger, okay? If you're doing bodybuilding type training, you go and use the machines at the gym and you're doing dumbbell curls, okay, and you're doing skull crushes and all the rest of it, tricep extensions and calf raises, you will put on muscle mass, okay? That's the type of training. You need to focus on strength training, okay? The two are, they're not together, okay? What I mean by that is getting bigger and getting stronger don't come together. You can get bigger or you can get stronger, and you can do those things separately, okay? They don't always have to be together. They can be together if you want them to be, okay? But as a racer, you don't want them to be together. You just want the strength benefits. You don't want the size benefits. And then ultimately, if you're having trouble gaining weight and you find you gain weight easily when you're doing training, it's because you're not eating the same amount of food that you were eating before. You're cranking up the training, you're cranking up the resistance, your body's cranking up its metabolism, you're feeling hungrier, and you're eating more of the same foods, which is continuing to keep you in a calorie surplus. If you just ate the same amount of food you ate before, in terms of calories, you'd be losing weight. Okay, that's what you need to focus on. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. Hopefully it answers a few questions for you. If you enjoyed the video or it was helpful in some way, please give it a like. Helps it to share around Facebook so other riders and racers can see it. If there's any of you guys that watch my videos that would like some help with your training, feel free to send me a private message with what you're working towards for this year, and I'll see if I can help. Otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I've got a few things coming for this back wall to make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more exciting, but things take time. So hopefully you enjoy this. I'll chat to you guys soon. See ya.